Hey, sports card fans, it's John, Wade Boggs fan. Hope you're all doing well. Before I get into today's video, if there is such a thing as a YouTube sports card sin, I may have committed one. My previous video, I showed off a 1975 Topps card of a Hall of Famer that I recently added to my collection. And I also decided to show off all the other 1975 Topps cards in my collection, or so I thought. Now, I had dedicated that video to Dylan Double D Vintage Baseball Cards because I know the 1975 Topps set is his favorite. Well, Dylan watched the video and commented on the video. And he said, John, didn't you buy a 75 Topps George Brett rookie card at last year's National? And I thought, yes, I did. And then I realized I forgot to include that card in my showcase of 75 Topps cards. How could I forget the key card, the biggest card in the 75 Topps set, the George Brett rookie card? How could I forget that I had that card? Now, my only excuse for that is I have certain cards in my collection, maybe the more valuable ones, in a safe. And I keep all my other cards in cardboard boxes. So when I was preparing for the video, I just went into the cardboard box, grabbed all my 75s, and said, okay, I'm ready to go. But even as I was showing off all the 75 cards I had, it never occurred to me that, hey, where's my George Brett card? So I don't know if I had a senior moment. I'm right around the corner here. Next week I'll be turning 51. Must have had some senior moment. I don't know, but I do own that card. But for whatever reason, I completely forgot about it. It's not like I have that many vintage cards. But anyway, live and learn. So the purpose of today's video, this is a video response for Rick Vintage Oddball Cards. Now, Rick is doing a contest just for the fun of it. It's not celebrating a certain subscriber milestone or anything like that. It's been a while since he has done a contest and he decided to do one. If you're not familiar with Vintage Oddball Cards, definitely go check him out. If you're watching this video and subscribe to my channel, you're probably really into vintage baseball cards, and so I'm sure you're familiar with Rick's channel, but I will put a link to his channel in the description of this video. Rick has an amazing collection, both vintage pre-war, multiple sports, very knowledgeable about vintage cards, so definitely go check his channel out. All right, so what Rick wants us to do, he wants to show off our beater cards. Those cards that have just been rung through the ringer, run over by a car, you name it, are all beat up. Because a lot of us, maybe in my generation, when we first started collecting cards, we didn't really care about keeping them in pristine condition. There was no such thing as grading. I don't even think they had penny sleeves back in the late 70s. I don't recall. But anyway, as I was looking through some of my cards, I realized I have a lot more beaters in my collection than I thought. A lot of them are from 1978 and 1979. And the reason why a lot of those cards could be considered beater cards, 1978 was the first year I started collecting cards. And for at least the first 2 years, 78, 79, I used to keep my cards in one of those I think they called them lockers. I have one behind me on the floor. I bought one off of eBay just for the nostalgia of it. My original one was long since thrown away. But I had a bunch of my 78s and 79s in that locker. And I was over at a neighbor's house, probably just showing cards. Who knows, we may have even been flipping cards or whatever. And by accident, my locker of cards fell into a kiddie pool, and all those cards got wet. I remember running home to my mom saying, "Oh my gosh, my cards, they've gotten all wet." My mom did the best that she could to try to put weight on them to try to make sure they don't warp, but it didn't work. But now, some of the cards I'm going to show off from 78 and 79, there's more than just some water damage to them. So I don't know how some of those cards got in the condition that they are. But then again, back then we didn't really care about keeping our cards in pristine condition. And I have some other cards in my collection that I thought were worthy to at least show off. But I think I have a card that could very well be in contention for the best beater card of those who do videos. Now, the Misfits are going to be voting, taking a look at all the response videos here and choosing the winner. But I think I have one that is pretty beat up. It is of a Hall of Fame player, so there's some significance to that that card. It's not his rookie card, maybe his second year card. But anyway, so I'm going to turn the camera around and show off some of my worst beater cards. All right, before I show off my beater cards, just to prove that I do have the 1975 Topps George Brett rookie card. Here it is, the card that, yes, I purchased at last year's National, PSA 7 copy. When I saw this on the dealer's display table, even though it's off center left to right, normally that would put me off. But when I saw how clean those colors are, how bright those colors are, I had been looking for a George Brett rookie card for quite a while. Often you'd see those fisheye print marks. This had none of them. Sometimes the sort of like the bluish purple color here wasn't as bright, and the green, it would be a bit faded. Sometimes there's some print issues up by the Royals. I just loved the bright colors and just the registration of this card. And so I couldn't pass it up. The back's nice as well. Now I did notice down there at the bottom that looks more than just the cardboard, because you can see some brownish. It's the type of cardboard there, but I think that would probably have resulted in an MK for a mark designation. So I'm wondering if whoever submitted this said, "Hey, I don't want any, classifications to it." So this very well, looking this card over, I could see how maybe this could have been at the time an 8, but it got knocked down to a 7 because it would have been normally labeled as a mark. But anyway, just love that George Brett rookie card that I do have in my collection. All right, on to the beater cards. I just picked a few here as an example of what I have in my collection, and then I'll end with, if you want to call it, my official entry into the contest. But I'm going to start off with some of my 78s. Here's one of Larvel Blanks. Interesting name nonetheless, but where'd the corner go? I have no idea how that happened. Again, this was most likely one of my cards that I probably pulled from a pack. How that corner got ripped off, and it almost looks like, it almost looks like it was cut. And then I either, maybe because it was cut, I just ripped it off. I don't remember. There's some paper loss there, some creases, but poor Larvel Blanks. All right, there's one. Another one here, talk about a cut card, Sam Hines. That one got the scissor treatment. Not sure how, why. The rest of the card looks relatively Okay, but yep, scissors got to it, looks like. I don't know. Here's another one. I guess it's Larry Harlow. Look at that paper loss. Look how bent that card is there. I don't know what the heck was going on there. But that's pretty beat up. Here, okay. Maybe I should have waited on this one to put it more toward my top contenders. But this Mariners team card, if the Misfits want to count this as my official entry, go right ahead. You got, I guess that's some writing there. You got the tape mark. You got heavy creases. You got, oh, yeah, look at that. Some scissor marks. Again, it's almost like a couple of these cards found I don't know, one of those paper cutters. You know, I don't know how I got this card. Maybe my mom attempted to fix it. I have no idea. But that is one heck of a beater card. There's some writing up there as well. Wow. All right. And here's another one. Poor Dusty Baker. Multiple creases. Again, that's probably due to some water damage there. It does go through the other side, but mainly on the front. This is a really good example of how more of my 78s than 79s, but there's a great number of 78s that are like this. Here's a Jack Morris rookie card. You got some serious things going on in those corners there. You got some creases. Not that bad compared to some of the others here that I just showed off, but definitely, example of some of the cards that I've kept since I was a kid. All right, on to 79. Here is a well-creased Goose Gossage Hall of Famer. Yeah. Got that corner going on there. I mean, at this point, doesn't even make sense to put it in a penny sleeve at this point. I mean, what are you going to do? Damage the card? But there you go. There's that. A couple checklists from 79. Actually, these are the same checklist. It's for cards number 1 through 121. And again, they're just, this one's not that bad, but you can tell, I mean, if you could feel it, you could tell that there's something wrong with the cardboard. Probably got all wet. Here's one that's scrunched at the top. Major creases. I mean, it just bends. So, yeah, that one's all beat up there at the top. Cardinals prospects. Terry Kennedy. George Frazier. Tom Bruno. Yeah, that one's seen better days. Look at all those creases and edge. Just, I don't know. But I can't throw it away. These were my cards as a kid. So I don't know. They're special to me, even in this shape. Here's another 79 checklist. Again, just beat up. More scrunching at the top. Don't know why that happened to some of my checklists, but hey, at least I didn't mark them up with a pencil of the cards that I had. All right, and then we'll finish the 79s up with 2 Johnny Bench cards. One, not so bad. Again, it's probably due to water, but I thought I'd just show it off since it's a Johnny Bench card. See how you can just see that fold there. And another one here, I don't know, I just decided to check to see if my pencil worked. It's not like I didn't like Johnny Bench. I don't know why that got the pencil treatment, but it did. So there you go. All right, just a couple other random ones that I found. 82 Flair, Ted Simmons, Hall of Famer. You got some major creases going on there that can make that card into a tent. But, Hall of Fame card, or Hall of Famer. By 76, Mike Schmidt. Again, major creases. You got like two going across, one major one going down. Yeah. Here are going back to some pre-war. I have some 3 T206s that are, pretty heavily creased. Maddox of the Pirates. Nick Maddox, I think. Got a pretty big crease going through there. I think this is Harry Niles. I think that's his first name. And it's got some serious creasing going on as well. And then I think this is Art Frome. But again, it's not that unexpected for some of these tobacco cards to have multiple creases. So nothing really special about those T206s. And here's one that I received as it was either a care package or just like a giveaway that Sean Tiefert, the Chosen Roster, did at one point. Sent me a bunch of vintage cards and stuff. 53 Topps Enos Slaughter. Definitely well-worn corners. You have that several different creases going across the front of his face there. You got a crease going on right there. All that, if I can get it focused here. A lot of that black just worn away. You can see corners more on the back here. But it's a Enos Slaughter 1953 Topps card. And very grateful that Sean gave this to me. All right, a couple other last ones here. These are getting more toward the official nominations, I guess. Although, like I said, the members of the Misfits, feel free to use any of these as the official entry on my behalf. Here is my 1978 Topps Andre Dawson second-year card, Rookie Cup. It's seen its better days. Actually, a lot of that stuff, again, doesn't look like it goes through the back. You can see a little bit, but it's mainly that surface that probably because it got wet, it just sort of warped the cardboard a little bit. Here's a 1981 Fleer Pete Rose. Multiple creases. Now, this one I do not believe was the result of falling in the kiddie pool, but nonetheless, I don't know. Again, it was around this time where I remember some of my friends, we'd flip cards, and so maybe this one wasn't originally my collection that I pulled from a pack. Maybe I won it in a flip, and someone else beat it up, but it ended up in my collection. Card number 1. All right, next to last card. Here we go. The 78, Mike Schmidt. Again, creases galore. A pretty significant one there in the corner. That one goes all the way through. But yeah, these were my childhood cards. Actually, that one there, it's actually ripped, so yeah, you got that rip there in the card. You got the scrunchie there in the along the side. But a 78 Topps card of a Hall of Famer. All right. Now, what I think is my official entry. It's one that I showed off not too long ago on a video. Loved this player. Loved this team as a kid. Probably took this card with me everywhere I went, to school, my backpack, you name it. And it is my 1979 Topps Tony Dorsett. All right, so you got a Hall of Fame football player, Cowboys running back, one of the all-time greats, second-year card. But as you can see here, you got creases. You have a corner that is no longer a corner. Don't even know what that is. Scrunching at the top, another beat-up corner there. You got a couple tears in the card. You got this corner that's all beat up. See if I can show it off here. Come on, focus. Yeah, are you gonna do it? Maybe not. There we go. A little bit better. Okay. Yeah, all along that, it's just beat up. But you know what? I just loved this card. I loved it so much that I ended up picking up a PSA 8 graded copy of this card so I could have a better version of this card. So I think it's either this one or the 1978 team card of the Mariners. Take your pick, Misfits, to see which one you want to include as my entry. But there you go, my beaters in my collection. So there you go. I hope you enjoyed some of my less than perfect cards in my collection. Rick, thanks for doing this contest. It was fun to do. Loved looking through some of my cards. Again, even though I have these types of cards in my collection, I wouldn't get rid of them for anything. They just remind me of my childhood, how I got into collecting, and so even those beater cards are special to me. So with that, that's all I have for you. So until next time, thanks for watching.